place to train. B3 Better presents The Amateur's Edge with Jerrian Sanders, Randy Wade, and A.D. Roberts.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Amateur's Edge. This is your host, Jerrian Sanders. We got Cleo Lemon in the house today, and we also got Ben Molden filling in today. How you guys doing today?
Good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I can't complain. How you feeling, Cleo?
Doing great, man. Excited to be here.
Okay.
Let's get it.
Okay, look like you're writing a little diary or journal or something going on.
Yeah,
over there,
man. You know,
Looking
put
like
my thoughts
studious
together,
over
He's
there.
got a thesis over there.
Yeah,
does?
Put my thoughts together.
Okay, Professor Cleo.
Called me now.
Let's do it.
Good deal, good deal. Well, today we first of all, I want to start the show off by giving a huge shout out to the mothers out there. This is a Mother's Day weekend. Particularly my mom, Brenda Cheryl Sanders, who's meant everything to me. I want to wish her a very happy Mother's Day. Standing ovation.
I'd like to wish a happy Mother's Day to Penelope Burr. She's in Ireland right now with some friends having a good time.
What?
Yeah, they're just dancing in pubs and
Getting it
a
in?
bunch of 70-year-olds
That sounds like a
going
good
wild.
time, man.
Right. Like, what's that Tom Brady movie?
Hey, shout out to my mom. Heavily Mother's Day today. Miss you, love you, and every day I think about you. So, hey, man, tomorrow will be a great day for mothers.
Definitely. So today, man, we're going to have a little fun. This week's hot topic was sparked by Austin Rivers. He was on the Pat McAfee show earlier and made the statement that
where the best athletes in the world are, that's us. I could take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
Whoa. It's because you're only allowed 5 on the court. Let's all relax.
It's because you get a break every play. All you got to do is catch the ball and run north or south.
he made the statement that you could take 30 NBA players and put them in the NFL and they could be successful versus if you took 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA and he didn't feel like as if they would be successful. So that was a hot topic for this week. So we're encouraging callers to call in and give your opinion about it. We all have spoken about this in the back. So we all have some very strong opinions about it. I grew up playing basketball. Cleo played professional football at a high level. Ben played at the collegiate level. So we all have some very interesting perspectives on this. So would love to hear all y'all's opinions. So please call in 904-641-1010. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs. Last night, the Wolves got thumped by the Nuggets. I thought it was going to be over, but those boys stepped up and took it to another level, man. So we might have us a series.
You can't count the champions out, right? It was only a 2-game, win for the Timberwolves, and they played extremely well. They were focused. They came in ready. But, the experience that Denver brings to the table, you can't really ever count those guys out.
Right.
They needed to get this win last night. They got it. Now the series is back to this next game. It's going to be everything. Right. So home court advantage for the Wolves. Denver's, playoff experience. I can't wait to see it.
Right. Again, I thought it was going to be a wrap, especially if you get 2 victories on the road and come back home. But Denver pulled it out, though. Definitely.
I like the story of Jordan's earlier in his career when he couldn't get over the hump until he had to get teammates. So maybe we're looking at the same parallels with Anthony Edwards.
No, I can see that.
And he getting more teammates and building up that story to his book.
Right.
Well, I think Minnesota has a team that can compete for a championship right now. Like, I didn't know how good of a team they were until I watched them this regular season. Mm-hmm. And
who would you say is his biggest next player is on there?
They got a lot of great players.
Well, Cat would be that next guy, like that next scorer, that next go-to guy.
Yeah,
right?
But I think they have a position, a player for every position. They got a 3-and-D guy. They got Naz Reid, who was the 6th man of the year. I had no idea who he was until I saw him go off during the regular season. So, man, they got a lot of great pieces. So I think it's there. But it's the playoffs. This is when they play hard, and it's going to be competitive. It's not going to be easy.
Right. So tonight we got OKC versus Dallas. That series is tied 1-1. Who you guys got for that tonight?
It's hard to go against Luka. Luka he's amazing. He's going to take everything the Oklahoma City Thunder have to contain him. But if I would say, I still give the edge to Oklahoma City. I just think just knocking Luka out, just because they're young, and I think they're naive. Like sometimes, like not knowing like what you're in the process of doing. I think, ignorance can be bliss. You can just go in there and play ball, not overthink it, be young and athletic, have some fun, and, all of a sudden you look up and they win 4 games and they're moving on to the next series.
Right. So who is that second guy for OKC, just like he mentioned?
Chet.
Chet, you think Chet's that guy?
Absolutely. Chet's the real deal.
Really?
You hadn't seen him in the commercials singing and all that? They think he is too.
No, I think he has the potential to be, man. He's definitely come along because this is technically considered his rookie year, right?
Right.
Because he was hurt all of last year.
Right.
So given that this is truly his first year of playing, he's definitely, fit the bill.
Yeah, man. They got a good squad. Don't sleep on them.
They do. They definitely do. And, again, you mentioned Luka, but don't forget about that guy Kyrie.
Yeah, but Kyrie he'll go missing on you too now.
No, not in the playoffs. He might get hurt.
Okay. He had one good run, right?
What you mean one good run?
With Cleveland when they won the chip.
Right.
What other run has he had?
Right.
He was also the second guy on Cleveland, right? So if he plays that second role,
right,
that might not. You don't need to rely on him being the main guy with Luka there.
That's true.
But I don't think they have the pieces. P.J. Washington was a good pickup midseason.
Huge.
But other than that, I think the rest of those guys are just guys, in my opinion.
Right. And then we got Boston and Cleveland. I think Boston will take that tonight and go ahead and finish that series out 4-1.
I don't know, bro. Tatum, he tightened up every playoffs.
Right.
Every playoff. So I don't know if you can count on him.
Right. Good deal. Well, we're going to finish this segment. This segment was brought to you by Premier Physical Therapy. Your wellness journey begins at Premier Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, the gold standard in orthopedic and sports rehab for adults and adolescents alike. Dial 904-996-6922 or visit premierptjacks.com today for the premier experience. You're listening to The Amateur's Edge on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, an avocado consultant from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Dave Ortega. Okay, Dave, here's your question. Your house is not bad in the morning, but by the afternoon, your AC can barely keep up, even with the curtains closed. What do you do?
Oh, can I buy a valve?
Not that kind of show, Dave.
Can I spin the wheel?
Yeah, we don't even have a wheel, Dave.
Can I phone a friend? Oh, can I call Bueller?
That's right, Dave. Call Bueller Air and Plumbing to assess your home's airflow and sunlight patterns, and let us optimize your air conditioning so that you are cool.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Well, you gotta get out more, Dave.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're a business owner and want to learn about federal, state, or local government contracts, plan to attend a free online webinar May 28th. The Florida Apex Accelerator, in partnership with UNF, provides expert guidance and consultations at no cost. The Apex Accelerator program can make selling to the government less complicated. Attend a free coffee and contracting webinar May 28th. Register at unf.edu/SBDC, then select Training and Event tab.
Your wellness journey begins at Premier Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation.
the gold standard in orthopedic and sports rehab for adults and adolescents alike. Dial 904-996-6922 or visit PremierPTJax.com today. Experience the Premier difference and take your first step towards a healthier, stronger you. Premier Physical Therapy, where Jacksonville comes to heal. PremierPTJax.com.
This is Frank Frangie. Join Dan Hickett and me for All Things Gators, our podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Monday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gators Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
I knew how to change my driver's license. Now, so before I even walked in there, I was like, oh, God, this line is going to be really long. They're going to be mean. And then you wait for 9 hours, and they're like, what do you want, license? Wrong line! Get to the end of the next line!
Tim Brewer, The Survival with Laughter Tour, May 12th, 7 p.m., Florida Theater. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com or 904-355-2787.
I'm Justin Nornduff, creator of DVS, a medically backed pitching development program designed to develop young throwers' arms safely. We are excited to be launching our Florida Development Center at B3 Better in Jacksonville. To celebrate DVS, we are offering a free virtual coaches clinic and also giving away 20 free team DVS and athletic assessments at B3 Better. To register for the clinic and your team's chance to win, go to b3better.com/DVS and secure your spot today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, this is the Amateur's Edge. Brought to you by B3 Better on 1010XL.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Amateur's Edge. This is your host, Jerrian Sanders. We got Cleo and Ben in the house today, and we actually have a call on the line. Caller.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Who we got on the line?
Oh, living the dream.
Who we got on the line right here?
Oh, this Jason Ward.
Hey, Jason, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing well today. Blessed and highly favored.
Good deal, man. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel you could take 30 NBA players, put them in the NFL, and they be very successful?
I think that, to be honest, I think it's very disrespectful. That's a very disrespectful thing to say, because one thing you got to look at is that, one, you're talking about professionals.
Right.
These are professionals. Like, you're saying, can they make it on an NFL roster? I would question, can they make it on a Division I roster? Like, I mean, honestly, do you think they can make the Alabama's roster?
No way.
Can they?
LeBron?
Can they make Georgia's roster?
LeBron?
Yeah. Okay. Like I looked up like the 11 fastest players that ever played in the NFL 40 times. None of those are Hall of Fame players. None of them. You had a Ross. The best player was Chris Johnson, the running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but besides that, none of them were just elite players. They were, I don't want to call them nobodies, but they weren't Hall of Fame. There were no Hall of Famers. There were no Pro Bowlers. There were no first or second teamers that were the fastest that ever played in NFL. They had the fastest 40 times. The point I'm making is just because you have a skill set, just because you have one skill set, doesn't mean that, okay, you can go out and do all great things. Just because you can cook a hamburger doesn't mean you need to open a restaurant. There's multiple dynamics on it. Just because LeBron James is strong and fast, can he take them licks and keep on ticking?
Can he run a route?
You know,
I don't believe he can.
Yeah, can he run a route? You know, and the only positions that you're talking about, half of the positions on the NFL roster are offensive and defensive linemen. So we know we're not talking about those positions. So what other positions are left? You're not talking about running backs. The average running back's between 5'8" and 6 foot. You got Derrick Henry that's 6'2", and I carries in the NBA. So what are you talking? You're talking about wide receivers. You're talking about wide receivers. So can they take them hits? You're probably talking about tight ends, and you may be talking about a couple linebackers. I think it's disrespectful. I really think it's disrespectful because they are professionals, and like I heard Shannon Sharp say once that people say, oh, you still look like you could play in the league. He said, no, I can't take them licks anymore. There's a process in getting your body ready to take those licks. I don't think they could do it.
Right.
And vice versa, can NFL players play in NBA? No, I don't think so. I mean, you got probably players that can play
defense, maybe.
Yeah, they can play defense. They can. Okay, you got players in the NBA.
They're not going to have the hand skill dribbling wise.
Yeah, but are they going to have the hand skills to catch a football from an NFL quarterback? They might could do a fluke play, but can they do a 17-game season? That anybody can. I can do a fluke. I can probably catch a pass.
Good deal. Well, Jason, hey man, thanks for calling in, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
All right, you have a good one.
That's an interesting perspective, man. When if for me, just thinking about it, right? When you look at football players are incredibly athletic, and there are guys who do get by on pure athleticism. You see that more in football than you do in basketball. I will say that much, right? Yeah. If you're just a pure athlete, like there's some receivers out there who aren't great route runners, but are extremely physical, extremely fast, and they're able to be very successful. So when you look at it from that standpoint, could you take like a LeBron and put him at receiver and have him run routes? And if he's physical enough, could you do that? Because I think that the opposite. I would say if there was an argument, I would side more with Austin Rivers from a standpoint that, again, there are some positions in football where you can get by on pure athleticism, right? Versus in basketball, I don't care how athletic you are, you still at some point going to have to handle the ball.
Right.
You at some point are going to have to shoot the basketball. So for me, if I had to weigh on one side, I could side more with Austin Rivers. But to Jason's point, these are professional athletes, dog.
Years of skill acquisition.
Years of skill acquisition.
Look what happened at Tebow when they put him at fullback.
Right. Right. It just don't work. But we got another call on the line, and I'll get you to an opinion. Caller?
What's up?
Hey, who we speaking to?
It's Aaron, bro. What's good?
Aaron, how you doing, my man?
I'm good.
Good deal, man. So what's your take? Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm just, I'm actually in the field of athletic development, been a professional and collegiate strength coach. So I've worked with professional athletes on both sides, and I was having this conversation with somebody this morning myself, and I think Austin Rivers is out of his mind. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion, but his opinion is wrong. I mean, it might be easier for those guys to maybe possibly jump over because it requires less skill from a basketball standpoint, because dribbling and shooting is a skill, right? It's a skill that takes hours and hours to hone and perfect to be a professional. But you can't tell me at some point there's not at least one guy on every NFL roster that decided he wanted to be a football player instead of a basketball player.
Right.
You can't tell me that. So for him to say there's not 30 people, he's out of his mind. Now, the shooting, the dribbling, the skill aspect, that's going to take time to acquire. So they can't just go today and make a roster. But at the age of 13, when they decide to specialize, if they would have chose basketball, they could probably be in the NBA. You can't tell me if Deion decided he wanted to play basketball, he couldn't have played basketball.
Right.
You can't tell me that. Now I will say, if you take the guys that we've seen do it, the Ronald Currys, the Julius Peppers, like those guys, like obviously they weren't good basketball players. They were way better football players than basketball players. But the easiest way for me to kind of explain it at the end, basketball chooses you, bro. If you're 7 feet tall, you're going to play basketball. Like, period. Like, that's your lane. Your lane is going to be basketball. There's not a single 7-foot dude that can come and try to play football. I mean, like, look at the clip of Draymond when they put him in the spring game against a college kid.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was terrible.
Draymond, one of the most physical dudes in the NBA, right? But that college kid got in his chest and he looked like a little boy.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those deals, bro. Like, it's about what you dedicate and put your time into. So if DK Metcalf decided he wanted to be a two-guard and spent the next 2 or 3 years dedicating himself to learn how to shoot, I bet you that dude could probably get picked up on the NBA roster. I mean, that's just one example.
Right.
Myles Garrett. If Myles Garrett would have decided to hoop instead of pass rush, we've seen Myles Garrett hoop at 270. You can't tell me if that dude didn't decide he wanted to be a point guard or a two-guard back in the day because he ain't but 6'4", he couldn't have done that. You can't tell me that.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I feel like Russell Westbrook, early in his career with his speed, he could have been a receiver.
Right. Hey, well, thanks for calling in, Aaron, man. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. So what you think, fellas?
I think he made some good points, Austin Rivers. I would definitely agree that 30, that's a lot, both ways. Because I think being in those locker rooms, there are some very, very high-level athletes that, I've had the chance to play a little pickup ball with on the side, during the off season.
You played against some NBA players?
No, some NFL players.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That played pickup basketball. None were NBA players.
Right.
I had a chance to play with Antonio Gates, who came from the college basketball scene and transitioned to a football player. That's my guy.
Right.
I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you that he's an NBA player. I don't think he is an NBA player. I think he made the right decision by becoming an NFL tight end, and now he's in the Hall of Fame, on his way to the Hall of Fame. Guys like Antonio Gates,
Gonzalez, right? Then Gonzalez playing college?
I think he's one of the best stories, right?
So Tony Gonzalez. And it's interesting because me just doing a little bit of research and running through some names with multiple sports, you can see, like in football, the guys that played multiple sports, it was either baseball or boxing, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at guys like Le'Veon Bell.
He boxed.
Yeah.
I know he got his butt whooped, but I thought that was just some little exhibition for some money. He was serious about it.
Runner Curry, who we talked about, he was a McDonald's All-American.
I think he was the number one player in the country in both sports.
Right.
Basketball and football.
Right. And then you look at Quincy Carter, who was a baseball player. Bob Hayes, who's from here, was an Olympic sprinter. You look at Donovan McNabb, who was a basketball player at Syracuse. I don't think he would consider himself an NBA talent.
Right.
I was looking up Jack Del Rio, the former Jaguars coach. He played baseball and football at USC.
Mm-hmm.
You see some of those names, and then you look at the basketball players. Tim Duncan, swimmer, right? He was a swimmer. You look at, Michael Jordan, obviously was a baseball player. Tracy McGrady played baseball as well. You can see the athletic ability. J.R. Smith, who was a golfer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see multiple sports, but they don't always correlate from football to basketball.
Mm-hmm.
These pros are into other things in other sports, and they have that skill set. So, I think it's a valid point Austin Rivers made, honestly.
Right. Yeah, like I said, man, for me, you can almost agree with him from the standpoint, again, that it takes a lot less skill outside of what position? Quarterback?
Well, route running is exceptionally skillful.
But you can still be an elite receiver and not be a great route runner. Right?
What the thing football allows you to do, it allows you to just be an athlete on the field because of special teams.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys make the roster because of just size and effort.
And speed.
And just their tenacity.
So to that point, could a couple of NBA guys, if they were tough enough, do they have enough athleticism to go compete at that high level?
But I think that's always the question with basketball players, because you hear Charles Barkley talk about it. He played a little bit of high school football. I think it was like for one day.
Right.
He got hit in the mouth. He got hit in the mouth. He said, look, I'm playing basketball.
Right. Hey, I was the same way. Look, hey, we did them Oklahoma drills one day.
Yeah.
My dad was like, I don't know, dog.
Might not be for you.
Hey, say I'm a lover, man. I'm not a volatile guy, so let me go and play basketball.
Volatile.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Allen Iverson is one of my favorite stories.
Right.
You know, like he and Michael Vick were, big time quarterbacks in Virginia. And AI, my favorite basketball player,
and your password,
and my passwords to all my accounts. he was ranked higher than Michael Vick was, and so I mean he balled out. There's old AI clips of high school, and he chose basketball. You think of longevity, basketball players have longer careers, they have higher working wage. There's a little more brand awareness because you can see their faces. So it's easier route in some ways.
And then I was watching before we came on. I was watching the interview with Charlie Ward. And he spoke on it. And he was saying, look, it's tough both ways. But at the same time, he had a decision to make when he came out of Florida State. He was playing both sports. And he said that if I'm chosen in the first round, I'll play NFL football.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm chosen in any other round, I'm going to the NBA. It's not many players that have that type of ability to choose which professional league they're going to play in.
Right.
Didn't Russell Wilson have that with baseball? Didn't he have?
He actually went and played baseball. Him and Kyle Parker played minor league together. Mm-hmm. So Russell Wilson went and played baseball first.
And I know Tebow actually did too. There was some pro talk about baseball coming out of high school. He was an incredible baseball player. And
he actually played after he left the NFL. He
went to the developmental league, right?
Yeah, he was in the minors. So.
Right. Good deal. Well, we'll get back to you guys on that. This segment was brought to you by Premier Physical Therapy. Your wellness journey begins at Premier Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, the gold standard in orthopedic and sports rehab for adults and adolescents alike. Dial 904-996-6922 or visit premierptjax.com today for the Premier experience. You're listening to the Amateur's Edge on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL keeps you company with sports takes and local talk.
Well, then that's exactly what we'll do.
Saturday from noon to 2.
Got any ideas who this mystery man might be?
It's Compton and Company.
What if word about this gets out?
On 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
All right, sports fans, Hicken here, and let's talk skin. Beaches Dermatology reminding you all to wear your sunscreen. Summer's almost here, gang, and that means more time outside. You're grabbing the clubs for your tea time. You're heading out to the boat. Just headed to the beach. Definitely bring the sunscreen. Hey, Mother's Day is coming up, so get your lady a gift card for some skin care. We know women love their skin. Beaches Dermatology, give them a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Breaking news, Jacksonville. Play It Again Sports is back. We are proud to be opening a brand new store on Merrill Road, but we need your help. We are currently stocking up and we need your gently used sports and fitness equipment. Play It Again Sports offers cash on the spot for all your used gear. We buy baseball, softball, football, hockey, lacrosse, golf, water sports. You name it, we buy it. Turn that gear into cash at Play It Again Sports Jacksonville on Merrill Road near 295 in the Merrill Station Shopping Plaza.
Unlock your true potential with the power of sports hypnosis, a power embraced by elite athletes worldwide. Experience the same techniques for peak performance that have propelled top professionals in the NFL, the NBA, MLB, and the PGA to new heights. So whether you're an aspiring athlete or a seasoned pro, HypnoFit tailors to all ages. Visit hypnofit.me today for more information to receive a free copy of AD's book, The Power of Sports Hypnosis. Step into greatness. Your journey to peak performance begins at hypnofit.me.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting! We'll never know how much our moms did for us when we were young.
I have cooked, cleaned, scrubbed.
1010XL helps you say thanks with gift ideas from
Beaches Dermatology, Sawgrass Marriott Spa, and Kuhn Flowers.
At 1010XL.com.
Step into the world of B3 Better Sports, where every athlete is an emerging champion. Tailor-made training programs based on science, crafted for your sport, your position, your ambition. Train smarter, not harder. Just 2 to 3 times a week is all it takes to unlock your true potential. Join the legacy of top athletes from Jax, transforming from aspiring to inspiring. on and off the field. B3 Better isn't just about sports. It's a launch pad for life successes. We're more than a program. We're a community. Rise above, excel, become the athlete you're destined to be with B3 Better Sports Performance.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, the amateur's edge. Brought to you by B3 Better on 1010XL.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Amateur's Edge. This is your host, Jerrian Sanders. We got Cleo Lemon and Ben Molden sitting there with me. And today's topic is about NBA players and NFL players. Can you take NBA players and convert them to NFL players versus taking NFL players and converting them to NBA players? So it's been a very interesting topic of the week. Austin Rivers was on the Pat McAfee show, and he had made that comment, and everybody's been going berserk about it the whole week. So we've had a couple of callers call in, and Ben wanted to get your opinion about this topic.
Well, I remember we were talking about Grayson Allen because we're both Jacksonville guys. I remember standing on the basketball court when he was in 9th grade and watching this kid do like a windmill dunk. That's a special kind of DNA walking around. Like you don't see that in average at a private school like Providence. Just
Right.
a kid walking around being able to do those things, and so you're kind of born in many ways into that aspect of it, and then you can nurture it. I'm 5'11", 240 pounds. I was built for, collisions and impacts in football. I tried to do my basketball thing in 8th grade and learned very quickly that was not the route at all.
Right,
I played college football. There's no chance I'm going to be on a college basketball team.
Right.
Like you just kind of Cleo was saying, you're kind of born into it, earlier. So it's like, you look at the training. What NFL player starting now could get the handles of Kyrie?
Right.
Like, how much time goes into this skill acquisition? So that's the thing. It's like the dedication that these guys. There's a guy on Instagram. His handle's like Route God or something like that, and it's like the time and dedication that these NFL wide receivers put into running their routes. Like that's why Hunter Renfrow is on a team.
Right.
He's not super fast. He's not super big, but his route running is so elite that he overcompensates through with his skill, to be on a team. So it's like I don't see an NBA player just being able to go over and run a route tree and go up against a well-trained cornerback like Jalen Ramsey and to be able to do anything.
Right.
Well, to put my coach's hat on, right, and we having this discussion, and if I'm talking to younger athletes, I say, hey, look, you might not be able to play both sports at a professional level, but what happens when you play multiple sports as a kid, you pick up those skill sets, right?
Right.
So when you are a baseball player, right, and then you transition to a receiver in high school, right, tracking a football, tracking a baseball, depth perception, taking the right angles.
Mm-hmm.
Those things translate from one sport to the other, and it's always just interesting to see how some of these pro athletes transition and pick up skills from other things. Because I'm looking at like a player like Mookie Betts, right, who's a big-time baseball player for the
freak athlete.
Right, freak athlete, Los Angeles Dodgers. He's a pro bowler, like
Really?
a bowler. He's a professional bowler. You see guys like Wilt Chamberlain. He was a professional volleyball player. So just think about him being a volleyball player, blocking, spikes at the net, and he's doing the same thing on the basketball court.
He wouldn't even need
shots.
to jump.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all these different skills translate from one sport to the other.
I mean, looking at Tom Brady and Stephon Curry, both have tremendous eye-hand coordination and precision skills. and they're excellent golfers. We see on all these, these the charities where they're great golfers, but they will never compete on any level with any pro golfer.
Right.
There's still the time factor to dedication of your craft.
Right.
And the natural skill set. Like Cleo's an NFL quarterback. Never, I could throw a 30-yard football, but never did I have the twitchy mechanics to take it any further than that, or the eye-hand coordination, which is why I always played defense in every sport I ever played.
Right. Would y'all agree though, of all the sports, football is the least skill? Well, how do I want to say this? The least technical as it pertains to skill.
I honestly don't agree, because you look at NFL defensive lineman pass rush skills.
Right.
You look at linebackers' skill sets to read the offense, to take on an offensive lineman, shed and react. There's.
Let me rephrase that question then. What other sport could you compete at a high level and get by on pure athleticism outside of football?
I just don't believe there is any personally, because I grew up, my first sport was soccer. I played club soccer for 13 years. And I hear people say, in the international world, like, oh, our best athletes aren't playing soccer in America. And it's like, guys, first and foremost, there's a big difference between eye-hand and eye-foot coordination skills.
Right.
And so some people have more amplitude or one or the other. Some people might be too tall or too short for certain positions. Like being a 6'9" goalie would be very difficult to get down to low shots on the. You would just have a mechanical disadvantage on height. So just because you're strong and fast, like bodybuilders think they can fight, like trained fighters, they're gonna really be like, you can't take the most athletic linebacker and put him in the ring with Canelo and think he's gonna have a chance.
Gotcha.
Like each sport requires so much dedication to skill acquisition that it just kind of negates how athletic you are on some level.
Right. I got an opinion about that, but we got a call on the line. Ed?
Hey there, Jerry. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing today?
I'm okay.
Good deal. So what you think about this debate?
So, being a basketball guy, I think they're, of course, are the most athletic of all the sports. And I kind of, heard the very end of whoever your guest speaker was, his comment. Of course, he couldn't step in the ring and become, beat Canelo or whatever. But to me, Roy Jones was probably the most athletic boxer we had. There was nothing he couldn't do. And I think it stemmed over from him being a basketball player, because, there's nothing more defining than, especially back in the 90s in NBA, it was basically one-on-one who was the better athlete. And as you know, those guys that were super athletic, things became easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
But when they became skilled at their, whatever their profession was, whatever sport was, it became almost impossible, for those guys to be, defended or to be scored upon. They were elite offensive and defensive players. So, I've been blessed to put 3 sons in college, 2 football and 1 track and field. And I worked on my kids being an athlete before I, we specified on what they were going to do later. That was my belief, and so much goes, and so much other things goes into being a basketball player. Your lateral movement, your quick bursts of, your explosiveness, your short range of motion, your distance you have to cover. So, and I think Anthony Edwards, like he said, he could have easily done football. I think those guys are probably tougher. From a not gonna say mentality or whatever, because of the nature of the sport. I don't think it's something that guys couldn't become, accustomed to if they were, placed out there in that. I just call it a gladiator sport.
Right.
So that's my opinion. But I always, work my kids towards, I utilize basketball as my foundation, and for them to branch out. So, and having pretty much coached all of them. Trained all of them. The youngest one is at Ole Miss now. You've done, and I believe that basketball was your foundation. From that, you build everything else around that.
Right.
So, a lot of incumbents, man. They just started doing the zone defense in basketball.
Right.
It was, one-on-one. You could double and triple team a guy or whatever, but you have to be, so many feet from him.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good deal. Well, hey, we appreciate you calling in, Ed.
Absolutely. Ed or Bruce. So.
Good deal. Well, you take care, man.
Okay. Thank you. See you tomorrow?
See you tomorrow, man.
Okay.
I don't know why I would see you tomorrow, but see you tomorrow.
There you go.
Good deal. So, Ben, you did make a comment about, I think me and you have had this debate before too, as it pertains to like soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a huge difference between hand-eye coordination versus hand and foot. Eye-foot. Hand-eye coordination and
eye-foot coordination.
Foot coordination. But my biggest argument with that is if you started out, if Allen Iverson started playing soccer ever since he was 5 years old, he probably would be one of the best soccer players to have ever played the game. So it's just a different thing, right? It's a different element. Where they grew up in their hoods playing soccer ever since they were 5 years old, we grew up in ours playing basketball. Right. So for me, when you talk about, and that's a whole nother show.
But I think he's an outlier. Iverson.
I think all those guys at that level are outliers.
Roy Jones Jr. is not capable of being an NBA basketball player. So it's like I feel like if we're going to use examples, we got to use the outliers to be the people who can play both the sports successfully.
Right.
Because the vast majority of pro athletes will not be able to transition. So it's like, who then are the elite people that could actually realistically make those changes? Because there's so much to acquire.
Right.
Iverson could do it. He could play 4 different sports. But like even track and field, there's Altus Sports does track athletes, and they'll take soccer, football, sprinters, and they'll slow motion run them against track and field, 100-meter dash sprinters, and their stride mechanics are completely different. And so it's like the training that they went into to become the world's fastest sprinters, is a technical skill acquisition.
Right.
So it's like Usain Bolt ran a 40 in Air Force Ones, and it was like a 4.240. So
that's crazy.
So it's like the skill acquisition piece is based on mastery, and so like we were talking about Malcolm Gladwell, the hours that put in to acquiring that. I just don't see a loophole that says I can become the best of one sport or even a top tier athlete in one sport and then immediately just go play another sport and be top tier purely based on athleticism.
So
athleticism is a spectrum.
Right. And I guess those 2 outliers are Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, right?
Right.
Because I don't think anybody else did it at the level that they did.
That Native American from a long time ago.
Jim Thorpe.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at those 2, those were, because I want to say, I know Bo made an all-star team in baseball, and I know for sure did he ever make a Pro Bowl? And we know Deion made tons of Pro Bowls. He didn't make the all-star team in baseball, but those are 2 guys who competed at a very high level at both sports.
But is he going to ever be remembered for his baseball career? Like, he wasn't excellent at baseball. He was good enough to be on the team, but he wasn't even like probably the top 10 best player on his team.
No, he was so that year the Braves lost to the Blue Jays in that World Series. Deion would have won the MVP of that World Series had the Blue Jays had the Braves won.
Okay, so Deion definitely is the outlier.
Yeah, Deion. Yeah, he played at a very, very high level of baseball. He was the leadoff hitter for both the Reds and the Braves.
He'll be remembered for that when he played both games
in the same day, right?
In the same day.
That's a good sport.
And he's like the only player to ever score a touchdown and hit a home run like in the same week or something like that.
So crazy.
Yeah. So when you look at it again, and going back to the question I asked before the caller called in, what other sport outside of football can you play at a high level and get by on pure athleticism? And I don't think there's any.
Just other than track and field.
Other than track and field, yeah.
Yeah, track and field, you know, it's not a skill, you know, but you definitely work at your craft and you become faster.
Right.
But other than that, I don't know if there's any other major sport out there.
Right.
That you could just jump in and just go just intense and just be one of the top players.
Right. So to Austin Rivers' point, I feel like you can probably take a John Morant, put him in the slot, have him run a quick,
throw a high
quick
ball to
slants,
him.
quick slants.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's gonna want to take that hit and come across that middle.
And that's the game. See, that's the part of the game that they have to really get comfortable with.
But what about that go ball? You're not jumping with him. Just throw it up.
Yeah, but if that's all you're doing, if you're just a one-trick pony, guess what? That's why they got defensive coordinators over there understanding, like, when he comes in the game or he's over here in this split, in this formation, like, they already got your game planned up.
Right.
You know, that's part of the big thing about football is strategy.
Right.
I remember David Boston? You know,
Yes.
I watched him throw, like, Aaron Beasley 10 yards off the ball, but he didn't ball out.
Right.
You know, like, he's a freak huge monster, and he was shut down over, had hardly any stats to remember, so I think about, like, maybe like a Ben Wallace type at defensive end,
Right.
But I just don't.
So I don't know. Austin might win this. He might win this argument, man. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. More college basketball players went to the NFL than
Have you seen vice versa?
College football players go to the NBA.
You hadn't seen it,
You
right?
haven't seen it.
Outside of Charlie Ward?
I don't think it's even a thing.
Charlie Ward's the only one I can think of who played at a high level and went from football to basketball.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of basketball players that play football, probably in high school.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, in high school, but they didn't play in college. And then when you go NFL-wise, it's a lot of hoopers in that locker room.
Yeah.
Right.
That swear they could, but when you see them, it's not like that.
Right.
They not on that type of level, but they're really good players. Some of them could have been fringe, bottom of the roster type players. I could definitely see that. But just being a superstar, it's kind of pushing it.
Right. And, making an NBA roster is probably one of the hardest things to do.
Absolutely.
Like that. People don't realize that 12th guy on the bench was an All-American.
Yes.
Right.
In college.
Yeah.
There's only 550 of them.
There's only 550. So those guys can play. And when somebody else gets hurt and it's their turn to play, those guys come in and actually contribute. Right? So, like, it's that you got to be a next tier, different type of person to compete at a very high level.
Yeah.
In the NBA.
Gotta get it.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, man. This conversation might have sided a little bit more with Austin, man.
I mean, it seems like it. I mean, because
seems like we shifted.
Shooting the basketball, I mean, can Steph Curry go out there and sling it like a quarterback? I mean, he's got the eye-hand coordination. He's got the precision. Could Steph Curry have been, if he had been nurtured into it, a baller at quarterback? Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. He could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think
But he didn't want to get blasted.
Yeah.
No.
And he ain't as solid as you.
But that's the mindset, though. That's the thing about
Yeah.
the football and basketball debate is it's the mindset.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like I told you, when that first time we did Oklahoma's, I'm out, man. I was too pretty for that, man. I'm not taking all this.
You ain't even pretty, so that's crazy.
Good deal. Well, we're going to wrap it up, man. This was a fun show, guys. I love talking to you guys. And so at the end of the day, again, when you look at sport, especially a sport like football, and you're looking at like pure athleticism, I think, again, that is the one sport that you can compete at a high level and just purely off athleticism. And I think that may have been the point that Austin was trying to make. And that is a more respectful way to put it. Right.
Yeah.
If I take, again, I can't just take you as a pure athlete and have you play basketball, but I can take you as a pure athlete and mold you into some kind of a football player. At the end of the day, I think we can.
But I would encourage all amateur players, play multiple sports.
100%.
Agreed.
Play multiple sports, because when you are in that basketball drill and you got to sit in that defensive stance and move your feet, it's going to relate to another sport. I guarantee you it is.
Good deal. Well, that's it for us. Signing out. Y'all have a good Saturday, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.